Something that I've had to learn is that God's no is still an answer. That just because he did not do what I wanted him to do does not mean that he did not answer my prayer. Because when you ask somebody something and they say yes, that's an answer. When they say no, that's an answer. Just because you don't want them to say no don't mean that that's not an answer. So just because he said no doesn't mean that it's an unanswered prayer. The Bible tells us in First John chapter 5 verse 14 to have confidence that whatever you pray in accordance to his will, he will hear you. If you're not praying in accordance to his will, it's just not going to happen. And there's no way that you can strong arm God into doing something that's not within his will for you or within his will for somebody else. The Bible also tells us in James to not pray and have a double mind. You can't pray and doubt and think that you're going to receive anything. You might as well forget it. Let's not also forget that in John chapter 15, whatever we ask because we keep his commands, he's going to do. So if you're disobedient and you're expecting God to just do what you want him to do when you want him to do it, it's not going to happen. There are a lot of scriptures that we have to keep in mind, not just certain ones, but all of what he talks about when it comes to prayer. Keep all of them in mind because you could be praying something that's not in accordance with his will. You could be disobedient and you're being a brat. You could be doubting and not even believing that he's going to do it, but you asking anyway, but you're not asking in faith. And yeah, like there's a lot of things to consider. And so also sometimes he just said no because that's not for you, or not yet. And not yet is not no. Delayed is not denied. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind because there's a lot of people, there's a young man that just left the faith because he feels like God didn't answer his prayers and he wasn't praying for material things, but it's like, were those things within God's will? And also, where were you? I don't want to get into that because there was evidence that he wasn't rooted. And so it's like, I'm still praying for him because I pray that he comes back because I believe that he has had an encounter with Christ, but now he's upset, he's hurt, and I've been there. I felt that before. I just literally felt that a couple weeks ago. But God, thank you for the Holy Spirit because he helped me to understand where my heart was at and why I felt the way I felt toward him. And that's because, for one, I was not in a season to receive the things I was asking for. Some of the stuff I was praying for in doubt. Some of the things I was praying was not in accordance to his will. It's just that simple. And we have to be okay with his no. We have to be okay with it not being the time. Just because I'm not giving it to you right now does not mean that the answer's no. Doesn't mean that I didn't answer you. Daniel prayed, and what he prayed for didn't come to him until 21 days later because the angel that was sent out to give him what he needed, he was met with opposition. So there's spiritual things that go on that we don't know about, and as to the reason why certain things be seeming delayed. Just tap in and just hold on to Jesus. Just hold on to him.